Welcome back to our daily show. Here's CJ.
Ain't gonna see it through.
9:17, welcome back, Daily Show hitting you on a Friday. Man, this has been like the marathon of a week, you know?
If anybody can handle it, you can.
No, I don't. We're going to find out here in a second. Oh, Laura, Brandon, how are we doing today?
Doing well.
Was Zion Lutheran Bethalto, Brandon, you are the pastor of the church.
Yep.
And, coming up on Sunday, a really great opportunity to kind of just come together and have some, in-depth discussions and thoughts with this GriefShare. And should we start this conversation? Let's just overview the event. And for folks that maybe are a little unfamiliar with what a GriefShare is, let's talk about that. Mm-hmm.
I think grief is a topic, number one, that our culture does not want to address. And we avoid it, we ignore it, we pretend like it doesn't exist. And so this is an event that will allow people to accept that they are grieving. We'll give them tools to help them grieve in a healthy way. And it's also Christ-centered, so it will give them an anchor for their grief experience.
Well, and, I find that point very fascinating, that culture doesn't want to accept. And can you explain that a little bit more? Because I think you're onto something, and I agree with that.
I think people in general are afraid of death. They're afraid of talking about death. They're afraid of admitting not only that they're going to die, but that their loved ones are going to die. And so we know it's going to happen, but when it happens, we're in shock.
Well, and on top of that, too, what do you attribute that to? And Brandon, I'll go to you on this, too, and both of you. Because is it because we don't have as much faith as we think we have? Is that where that kind of scaredness comes in? That where does that where does that point lead to?
Yeah, so where this all started, actually, so the event, we call it Surviving the Holidays. We started it 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And if you remember, 5 years ago was, this fifth year doing it, so 2020 was when we first did it. And the reason we started it was to go through the grief process, there's certain natural grief markers. Mm-hmm. So having a funeral service, having loved ones gathered around you, kind of going through those first few weeks, you have people that are coming to support you, and that kind of tapers off, and then you figure out how to take the next step after that. In 2020, a lot of people didn't have those key markers.
Yeah.
They might have had a service that a maximum of 12 people could be at, or maybe they postponed the service. They didn't have the family maybe gathered at the house for a while afterwards. And so as we were looking at kind of ministry needs in that year, that was when we identified is to help those who were maybe missing out on those kind of normal, healthy kind of grief markers.
Yeah.
And being the fifth year kind of we've done the Surviving the Holidays thing, while some of those normal, grief events, funerals, and that kind of stuff are more regular now than they were. The actual kind of issue of, well, how do I, no one ever teaches you, how do I grieve, what's normal? And especially heading into the holidays, I think a lot of people don't realize until afterwards, man, that hit me harder than I thought it would. Maybe it's the first year of a loss. Maybe it's year 2 or 5 or 15,
right.
and something just comes back. And what this specific event is designed is to be able to normalize the experience a little bit. You're not the only one that's having a tough time, or and to be able to navigate. Well, what should I do? Should we continue the traditions that we did while mom was here, or whatever the loss is? And a lot of people kind of feel stuck, and we hope to help you feel a little, at least you're not alone in that, basically.
Well, and I totally understand that, and and it's really important because Coben, we've talked about surviving the holidays, I believe, in some way, shape, or form, maybe a year or two ago, I can't remember, but it's such an important event because you're right, you're by yourself, and especially if you're an older adult and you just lost your wife, or you lost your husband, or you lost your son or daughter, those things are happening too. it's especially those different circumstances. Who's going to really help you with the loss of a child? You really need to be a part of a group where you can share those feelings, and because I feel like a group setting, you're able to really achieve more with it. It's not just that bias coming up because I'm talking to my friend and I know my friend's going to tell me these things because I need to feel this way. There's that bias kind of we put in our mind is gone because we're really in a group of like-minded people that are going through those same struggles. Makes sense. Yeah. And now, when does this event take place? 2:30 to 4:30, correct?
Yeah, on Sunday. So
This coming Sunday.
Do we need to register?
You can register online at holidays.griefshare.org, but registration is not required. Everybody is welcome, and we have tons of resources to give people. There is no charge for anything at the event.
Really cool. And now, when you guys started this, it was Surviving the Holidays, now kind of this GriefShare. Is it the same model, just a different name?
Yeah, so we kind of started the event on our own, and we'd bring in a guest speaker or a panel, and over the years, kind of what we identified is having an event is super helpful, but it's also we saw the need to have a community that people could be invited into, and so that this past January, Laura we had been praying about it separately from us. We've been praying for someone to help lead a regular group, like a GriefShare ministry group, and unbeknownst to us, Laura had also been praying for an opportunity to further kind of the Surviving the Holidays thing, and God ended up having the right person at the right time, so we launched our first group this past January.
It's incredible.
Through July, and then we had another group that started up August, and they'll finish up here in a couple weeks, and then we'll have another group start right back up in January again.
Wow. That's incredible. I mean, now that's and can you take me through some of the progress or results, or just some of the feedback you've been getting from this model?
I think they call it a support group model, and I think the most common feedback that we get is, I thought I was the only one who was experiencing these things, and it feels so good to be in a room with people who are experiencing similar things.
And I'm sure with that group, I'm sure there was times before you were in that group, it's like, am I allowed to say this? And it becomes your own tribulation, and that's just what happened to me personally and things. It's like, am I allowed to say these things? Am I allowed to feel these feelings, And when you're in that kind of support group like atmosphere, how is it different, in your opinion, Laura, than any of the other types of opportunities maybe you've had to explore those feelings and emotions?
Well, what I tell people, and I say this every week, I say, I know it's tough to come here, and I congratulate you for coming again this week.
Yeah.
And I know that you're going to take at least one thing home with you tonight that will be helpful for you. And I want you to know this is a safe place. You can express your feelings. Confidentiality is our guide, guard, and direction and rule. And I think it doesn't always immediately click with people, but I think as the weeks go on, I see that people really believe this is a safe place.
And now, is this going to be the last GriefShare event of the year?
Yeah. So we have this Surrounding the Holidays on this Sunday. The GriefShare kind of group will meet another.
We have two more group meetings for this session. And then January 13th is when the next session will start.
What's the best way to get more information on that? Because I feel like once we put an article behind this, and especially because so many people are going through this right now, and I think COVID was really hard on people because they never got a chance to fully grieve the way they're used to grieving. The funerals became more of a remote thing, and you didn't have that closure. So I think that there's a lot of people that could benefit from this, truly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's not limited to people who have had a recent loss.
That's really good.
Yeah, we have people in our group that have experienced loss 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 20 years ago. So it's just a safe place where people can work through some of the things that they're experiencing.
Well, and we know people, and we all know of somebody who's lost an individual, and that loss has been pretty much devastating to them for decades. And grief doesn't have any time expiration date, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So true.
So how do these group meetings, and how does this all work? What's the format? What are we going to kind of see in the sights and sounds in that first 30 seconds to a minute in the group? or event?
So, well, first you asked about registration. So
Yeah.
if they want to register for our upcoming group, they just need to go to GriefShare.org and type in their zip code, and then that will take them to where they can find our group as well as other groups. The groups meet at different times of the day. So our group happens to meet in the evening, but there are other times of the day when groups meet if that doesn't work for people. So for our group, we come in, we have an opening prayer, we talk about what the parameters of the group are. We talk about confidentiality, safe place, all of that. We have a short devotion, and then we usually have a few discussion questions. Sometimes it's a personal sharing kind of question. Sometimes it's something related to last week's topic. How did you process what happened last week? And then we take a break, and then we watch a video together and discuss the video.
That's really interesting. Now, this is is this 13 weeks?
Ours is actually 14 because we
Okay.
built in an extra session at the beginning, just calling Introduction to GriefShare, because a lot of people aren't familiar with GriefShare, and so we want them to know what they're getting into.
So what's that moment like when you really start to open up and really feel the group working?
My sister is my co-leader, Barb Doris, and she said, she put it so well. She said, the minute that I saw one group member reach out and put her hand on the shoulder of another group member, then I saw the power of this, of people coming together in a common experience.
Just incredible. You guys got a moment to stick around? I gotta
Yeah,
take
sure.
take a quick break and pay a bill. It's almost 9:30 on this Friday morning. We'll come back with more of this great conversation right after this in the heart of the 618.
Ready for fantastic deals? Head to Village Dispensary, where every day is a celebration. Start your week with 25% off Dog Walker pre-rolls on Monday. Tuesday, enjoy 25% off Divs gummies. On Wednesday, enjoy 30% off Nevada pens. On Thursday, it's 30% off CQ sodas, margaritas, and more. Friday, enjoy 3.5 grams of Megatron by NGW and Cronuts number 4 by Paul Bunyan for $25. Visit VillageDispo.com and shop now.
Picture This and More has been a trusted name in the Alton community for more than 30 years, with the last 3 being right here on Broadway. We specialize in quality framing at affordable prices. We also feature works by local artists because we're proud of our community. If you have valued treasures to display and preserve, we're sure to have the perfect fit with our large selection of custom framing and display options. Whatever color, shape, or size, Picture This and More has the look you need. Stop by today and let us help you with your next project.
Do you need to declutter your space? Time to call me, the Queen of Junk. Since 1993, we have grown to be the leader in residential, commercial, and property management junk removal. At Sparks Junk Removal, we are eco-friendly. We recycle, donate, or repurpose items back into our community. Trash is our last resort to the landfill. Plus, with our all-inclusive service, our crews handle everything from labor to lifting and landfill fees. Give us a call or visit our website, sparksjunkremoval.net, to reclaim your space today.
Looking for the best barbecue in Madison County? Head over to Carver's Barbecue in Godfrey, Illinois. From loaded barbecue nachos to mouth-watering pulled pork, brisket, ribs, and more, Carver's serves up award-winning flavors you'll love. Family-owned, Carver's is all about fresh, made in-house dishes served daily. Come visit us at 2716 Groveland in Godfrey, or give us a call at 618-467-9999. Order online, get it catered, or stop by for the best smoked meats around. Where great flavors meet family tradition, you'll find Carver's Barbecue.
You're listening to Our Daily Show with CJ Nasello on RiverBender.com.
Welcome back, 9:32. Okay, getting back to this really great event. You know, it's on Sunday from 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. And before we go back into the to the group and how the process works a little more, Pastor, what's it like to have this type of group and just I'm sure more programs like this around the church? Because I'm sure going into the church service and hearing the lesson and going in and doing a little bit extra is great, but I'm sure these programs really add on really that full circle approach at Zion.
Yeah, so what it allows us again to reach people in different ways. So we think about a lot of some of the ministries we do as kind of bridges, and so there's different things that are going to get someone connected. Ultimately, we want them connected to God, connected in worship. But for some people, it's going to be meeting a different need first.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's meeting them in their grief. Maybe it's meeting them in a need that they have, around their house or for education through our school that we have, or any number of ways. But this past Sunday, we celebrated, and many churches probably did celebrate All Saints Day. And so you remember those who have died in the past year, as well as those who have gone before us long before that. And for us, the timing works out nicely to not just kind of have a service of hope and comfort one weekend, but to say, hey, if this kind of spoke to you, if this awakening, we actually have something for you this next week, and we have a group that you can get connected in after that, and to be able to kind of tie this together, so it's not just we talked about that once, but actually we want to walk with you through whatever it is.
Well, and I'm not an expert by any means in church or spirituality, but just in my, for where I'm at, and going to St. Mary's and all that and death, it seems like if you don't have those programs, you really aren't going to be able to get the most out of your services, because you're going in with other things on your mind that you need to address, and to have a church that's going to, provide those things, it's a really good thing to have. I mean, really is.
Yeah.
Getting in back into this, how many people can the group hold?
For the GriefShare group or Surviving the Holidays?
Let's do Surviving the Holidays first, then GriefShare.
Okay, Surviving Holidays, we're wide open. We're using the church sanctuary for the event, so we've got plenty of room.
Yep.
Really cool. And then GriefShare, the group?
We don't have a limit, and the cool thing about the way GriefShare is structured is that each session is an independent session. So
okay, that's really cool.
Right. So you start out with the goal, obviously, to go through all the sessions, but things happen, people can't make it, whatever, or somebody just hears about GriefShare about when we're on session 7, they can start coming. And
really cool.
Each week. The challenge to that is the bonding with the group, but the group is very welcoming and it's very inclusive.
Well, and I think that, with some of that, especially how people grieve differently, I'm sure that maybe some times are a little bit harder than others to get to that. So to know that, hey, even though I want to be at if you, do want to be at every one and you just have a bad day, you aren't missing out completely,
Right.
Yeah, and we have some people that they'll come for a little bit and realize maybe I need to try the next session, and they'll come to the first kind of group and then they'll come back for the next group, and because it becomes a community. And it's not that they're, it could be the same content that you're being taught, but you're learning it, applying it in a new way, and so there's always it could be a long-term kind of support for you, or it could just be here's a one thing that I needed that's going to help me.
Well, and I always tell people, if content repeats, it's a good thing, because how many darn things have you and I and all of us in this room forgotten from 7th, 8th grade, high school, college? We forget about it so much that those really going back and actively working on it is how you truly get better. And I think this is. Wonderful. So did this just line up to where Surviving the Holidays and the GriefShare kind of just fell on the same day, or was this done in conjunction for that purpose, just to kind of make sure that both were being met?
Yeah. So when we for I guess the first 3-4 years, we just had we always
because I knew that.
We always tried to plan about 2 weeks before Thanksgiving is about when we do Surviving the Holidays, and then we wanted to launch the first GriefShare group. January seemed like a good time to, people are starting kind of new things. The schedule seems to be less full beginning of the year, and then we just kind of let that group run, the number of weeks, and then kind of continued, that the timing for this group that started in August just ends up leading right into this event, which is great.
And I think really Surviving the Holidays inspired us to go on with GriefShare because we saw the need, and we were asking what other ways can we help people meet this need.
Well, and it's really such an important one. And now, so the group meets at the church just each time the group's on, so each week it's just the same place.
Right. We meet Monday evenings from 6 to 8.
Really
is
cool.
our time, yeah.
Perfect. And then, Pastor, what else is going on over at the church so we can fill our audience in on today?
Yeah, so I mean, we just finished with trunk or treat and all sorts of.
That's always a big one for you guys.
It's been kind of busy. We got to clean up a little bit of water, like most people probably in the basement on Monday morning or Tuesday, whatever day that was. So we're looking forward to. I mean, again, obviously our weekly worship. We have Saturday night 5 o'clock. Sunday at 8:15 or 10:45, and coming after Thanksgiving, we'll kind of head into the Christmas season a little bit, which is for anyone that's wanting to kind of jump back in or has thought about coming back to church. Christmas is really one of the best times because whether you're churched or not, the songs are almost always familiar.
Right.
And so the main one that I say, if you want to, if anything in you is saying, hey, maybe I'll give this a shot again. Christmas Eve, candlelight service. It's familiar Christmas carols. It's a message of hope about God's presence with us and how that totally changes our lives. Our Christmas Eve candlelight services are 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and then if you really want to stay up late, the 11 o'clock p.m., not a.m., 11 p.m. candlelight service will lead you straight into Christmas Day, and it's a great chance to, kind of pretty low, in terms of anything super new, very welcoming, and there's candles involved, so there's.
It's gonna look nice.
Yeah.
Well, seriously, both of you, thank you so much for stopping by and filling us in on this. And is there anything else before I let you go that we need to hit on for now?
I would just say if anyone wants to come, feel free to come on Sunday. Registration's not required, and we would love to have you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and honestly, I think this is so beneficial for so many people. Thank you guys so much for stopping by and sharing, and we'll talk again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
9:50 or 9:40, a little bit of change on this Friday morning. Man, that mold count's getting to me today. My allergies and sinuses are all over the place. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll replay a conversation. Then the Museum of Illusion joins us out of St. Louis. They got a really cool way to honor National STEM Day through one of the national foundations. We'll talk a little bit more about that and so much more right after this on RiverBender.com.